Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a nation's fate, right? And it's all hanging on one single guy's ability to jump into other dimensions, unknown dimensions.
Yeah, pretty wild premise.
That's exactly where we're dropping in for today's deep dive. It's straight from Jeffrey Lord's science fantasy novel, Jewel of Tharn. Now, maybe not a household name, but this book, it's absolutely packed with bizarre ideas, strategies you wouldn't expect, and some surprisingly human stuff, too.
It really is. A hidden gem, maybe.
Totally. So our mission today was going to pull out those mind-bending nuggets, those insights, and kind of give you the shortcut to understanding this one man's journey. He becomes this, like, reluctant god king in a world that's just, wow, beyond comprehension.
Like, ready for some surprises.
Yeah, maybe a few aha moments along the way.
So it kicks off with some serious atmosphere. High stakes, super secret. We're talking late at night, inside number 10 Downing Street. The Privy Council room, no less.
Ooh, very exclusive.
Definitely. And you've got three key people there. There's Jay, he's the boss, but also a friend to our main guy. Then there's Lord Leighton, described as England's greatest scientist.
Okay.
But listen to this description. A shrunken little man with a grotesque hump and glittering yellow eyes. Bit unsettling.
Ah, yeah. Sounds like a Bond villain almost.
Right. And finally, the Prime Minister is there. And he's just a politician, totally overwhelmed by what he's hearing, just completely baffled.
So who's the guy they're all focused on? The dimension hopper.
That's Richard Blade. He's presented as this guy who's pushing the limits of modern experience, diving into these worlds we can't even really imagine.
Right.
The book calls him an everyman and at the same time a mighty and intrepid warrior. They even put him in the same league as, like, Tarzan, Doc Savage, Conan, those types.
Wow, okay. Big league. And he works for Jay.
Yeah, he's been Jay's top man in MI6A, which sounds like some super secret branch of MI6 for 20 years. Handsome guy, prime of his life.
And why is he doing this? For the thrill.
That's what's fascinating. No, he's not doing it gladly, the book says, but willingly.
Willingly, okay.
It's purely a matter of duty, of serving England. He's not an adventurer seeking kicks. He's a patriot doing his job, however insane that job is.
That paints a different picture. So how does this dimension hopping even work? What's the science?
Well, science might be a strong word here. Lord Leighton gets pretty cagey about it. He insists it's not a question of cosmogony or time-space. He calls it a dimensional rift. And get this. He says his computer actually alters the molecular structure of Blade's brain and body.
Whoa, seriously?
That's the claim. Alters him so he can perceive and live in dimensions that are just invisible or nonsensical to the rest of us.
Okay, my brain hurts already. What does the PM think?
Well, the PM, being a politician, just throws his hands up. He admits he simply does not understand this miracle, which honestly feels pretty relatable when you're talking about rewriting molecular structures.
Yeah, fair enough. So this specific trip to Tharn is special.
Absolutely critical. Blade's done 2 trips before this, one to Alb, one to Cath. First was an accident, second was planned. But this third one, it requires a white card, basically, carte blanche. Do whatever you need to do.
Okay. High stakes.
And £1 million. $1 million. From some secret wartime fund.
Whoa. That's serious cash, especially back then. And who knows about this?
Extremely tight circle. Just Leighton, Jay, the PM, and Blade himself. That's it. The secrecy is intense.
Makes sense.
And the PM's approval, it's not just a signature. There's this whole ceremonial vibe and almost medieval flavor, the book says. He even uses his ring to put a wax seal on the authorization.
Wow. Really emphasizes how extraordinary this is. And why? What's the potential payoff for Britain?
Huge potential, they think. Mass teleportation for surplus populations. Maybe colonizing new dimensions, finding rare minerals. The sky's the limit. Or rather, the dimension is.
It's incredible. Secret science, immense sacrifice, all for the nation. Makes you wonder what goes on behind closed doors, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So Blade's getting ready to go. We get this little hint about his personal life. A strained relationship with a woman named Zoe. Seems these long, unexplained trips have cost him.
Yeah, I can imagine. Sorry, honey. Gotta pop over to Dimension Alb for a bit.
Exactly. So Jay drives him, not to Buckingham Palace, but to the Tower of London.
The Tower? Really?
Yep. Turns out there's a labyrinth beneath the tower where Leighton keeps his super-secret computer complex.
Okay, that's cool. Very Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Totally. And as Blade gets ready, he changes into just a loincloth. A twist of linen.
Why?
Because apparently, every other time he's traveled, he ended up arriving completely naked. So this is just practical minimalist packing.
Right. You learn something new every trip, I guess. Is he scared this time?
Surprisingly, no.
Yeah.
Not afraid, not nervous. The book says he's actually looking forward to it. He feels like he's been idle too long.
An adrenaline junkie, maybe, despite the duty thing.
Or maybe just accepting the bizarre reality of his life. And Layton gives him this little tech upgrade reassurance.
Oh, yeah.
Tells him a Chronos computer has expanded his memory cells. Basically, anything he sees or experiences will just automatically get filed away in his brain. No need to take notes.
Handy. Wish I had that for grocery lists.
Right. And then, whoosh, he's gone.
And arrival is unpleasant.
Oh, yeah. That familiar, furious head pain. Seems to be the standard dimensional welcome mat.
Fun. And where does he land? What's it like?
It's stark.
Yeah.
Alien. There's reddish-colored water. And the sky. The sky is baffling.
Oh, so.
No sun, no trace of daylight, moon, no clouds. Just this milky, opaque void above him, like eternal twilight. Crepuscular, the book calls it.
Creepy. Any sounds? Life?
Nope. No birdsong, no wind, just silence. It's a profoundly unsettling sensory deprivation almost.
Yikes. But he's not alone for long, right? He hears voices.
He does, but it's not human speech. It's described as a series of clicks, whistles, buzzings, and trills.
Okay, alien language. Can he understand it?
And here's the kicker.
Yeah.
Instantly. He has no idea how, but he understands this completely alien language.
What? How? The memory thing.
Maybe. The book doesn't explicitly say, but it's another layer of weirdness. But then...
There's always a but then.
He sees these dark figures at work off in the distance. And their constant gabble he cannot understand. Some are slouching, some are on all fours. They don't sound human at all.
So he understands one alien language but not another, right off the bat.
Exactly. A linguistic paradox on arrival. Sets the scene for just how much is unknown here.
And then someone approaches him directly.
Yes. The first being he meets face-to-face is described as, well, neither male nor female.
Neither.
No hair on its chest and no breasts. Only a smooth expanse of flesh. It's identified as a neuter.
A neuter. Okay. And how does this neuter react to Blade, the guy in the loincloth?
Well, Blade's loincloth isn't exactly secure, apparently. And when the neuter sees Blade's male genitals, the reaction is pure fear and awe.
Fear and awe, because he's male.
Precisely. The neuter just drops to its knees, supplicating. Blade's basic human biology, something totally normal to him, instantly marks him out as something extraordinary, maybe even divine, in this world.
Wow. So his physical form gives him instant status or misunderstanding.
Both, probably.
Yeah.
It's this accidental divinity. He hasn't done anything. But because he represents something they lack or maybe lost, he's suddenly perceived as powerful. It really makes you think about how societies interpret difference, right?
Definitely. Especially a society that might be, struggling. Is Tharn struggling?
Oh, we'll get to that.
Okay.
But first, Blade needs to figure out what's going on. He starts getting info from this specific neuter named Moina.
Moina.
The one who knelt.
Could be. Or another one. Moina is described as a 4th-level think-speak.
Think-speak? What's that? Like a job title?
Seems like it. Maybe like a living database or informant. They have levels, suggesting knowledge is structured, maybe controlled. Moina tells him the place is Tharn, and he's in Canto 13, Provo of North Gorge.
Catchy address.
And Moina immediately warns him. Says there's danger from someone called Honcho. If Moina fails Honcho, Moina gets destructed. If Blade gets caught, he goes to the cage.
Destructed.
Yeah.
Yikes. Sounds like a fun place, Tharn. Yeah, clearly rigid, hierarchical, and dangerous from minute one.
What about their tech? You mentioned the computer back in London, but what's it like in Tharn?
It's everywhere, but strange. Everything, clothes, armor, even weapons like these basic-looking air guns firing plastic darts. It's all made from one plant.
One plant for everything.
Yeah, a plant called money, or its processed form, Pethcines. Super versatile, apparently. Plus, they have this invisible light source in their tunnels and spice screens everywhere. Constant surveillance.
Many spice screens. Sounds very controlled. Like you said, observation is key here.
Totally. A society built on watching and maybe manipulation. Which brings us back to Honcho.
The guy Moina was scared of. Blade meets him.
Sort of. His first encounter is deeply unsettling. Honcho appears, but he's not solid. He's a Simlu.
Simlu, like a hologram.
Pretty much. A picture, a ghost, a wraith, the book says. A projection of the real Honcho who's somewhere else entirely.
Okay, that raises the obvious question. How do you fight a projection?
Exactly. And Honcho immediately demonstrates his power. He just destructs Moina, snaps his fingers, basically, and Moina's gone.
Just like that. Brutal.
And Honcho, who's apparently 14th level and calls himself he of all neuters, pegs Blade instantly, sees his physical form, and knows he's no lordsman.
Lordsmen, is that another group?
We'll get to them.
Yeah.
But Hancho doesn't want to destroy Blade. He has plans. He wants to use Blade, pass him off as Mazda, he who comes today.
Mazda. Like the car.
Probably not. More like a mythical figure, a god. Hancho knows Blade isn't really this Mazda figure, but he doesn't care. He says he'll make Blade my own very private god, my own, to do with exactly as I please.
Grapey. So Hancho's pulling the strings behind this projection. Where is the real Hancho?
That's the mystery for Blade. But first, Hancho sends Blade's mind, just his consciousness, to scout the capital city, Ursit.
Sends his mind. Okay, the tech keeps getting weirder. What's Ursit like?
Remember that weird sky? It's like that in Ursit, too, controlled so that Manny could best prosper. That eternal twilight again.
For the miracle plant.
Right. The city itself is pristine. It has fountains that spewed colors and music instead of water.
Fancy.
And get this, an odor of women.
An odor of women, that's specific. Who lives there?
The ruling class. They're called the people, or just they.
Yeah.
And they are all women. Beautiful, tall women. Less than 1,000 of them total.
A ruling class of women. Okay.
But there's a catch. They're all destined to be destructed when they reach a certain age.
Destructed? Like Moina. Why?
That leads us to the big, tragic paradox of Tharn. The source material lays it out. It's a dying civilization.
Dying. But it looks so advanced with the simless and controlled skies.
Technologically, maybe. Biologically, not so much. The male line, the Lordsman Hancho mentioned, has weakened dramatically. They produce only runts, spindly and scrawny.
Ah, so that's why Blade's physique was such a shock.
Exactly. These lordsmen are kept and bred in a cage, that place Moina warned about, and their semen is literally milked and injected into the bearer maidens just to keep the Tharnian race going.
Wow, that's clinical and grim.
It is. And ironic, because phallic symbols are everywhere in their art and jewelry. Symbols of fertility and immortality in a society that's forgotten how to reproduce naturally and is facing extinction.
So who's in charge of this whole setup? The queen?
There's a queen goddess, Gastar, and a high priestess, Isma. They rule from the palace. They oversee rituals like the Sacker, which is the ritual sacrifice of those lordsmen.
Sacrifice the men after you?
Yeah.
Use them? Man, Tharn is messed up.
It's a chilling picture, isn't it? All this control, this advanced tech, this obsession with purity and lineage, and it's led them to biological decay and these brutal practices, makes you wonder about the definition of progress, right?
Seriously, what counts as progress if you engineer your own extinction?
A central question, I think. So while Blade is stuck in this place called the Gorge Tower, he has another encounter, this time with Zulekia.
Zulekia. Who is she?
She's a Meduc, which seems to be a high-class servant. Beautiful, but she's considered Carno.
Carno.
Impure. Because she's had koi, which is clearly their word for sex with lordsmen. Plural.
Ugh. And that's bad. Even though they need the lordsman for
No.
You know.
Apparently very bad for her. Her sentence is horrific. Be given to the seaboids, these sound like monsters, and then thrown into the gorge.
Jeez. What does Blade do?
He reacts with empathy. He wants to save her. It shows his fundamental humanity still kicking in, even in this brutal place. And she does something interesting. She secretly gives him a tiny, mysterious cylinder.
A cylinder. Plot device incoming.
Probably.
Yeah.
But Hancho, who the book reveals, is a total voyeur.
Of course he is.
He sees Blade's reaction to Zulekia. He sees that flicker of compassion.
Uh-huh.
And he immediately uses it. He weaponizes Zulekia. He projects another Simlu, but this one's a force Simlu. A vision. A preview of Zulekia being tortured and flayed by seaboids. Even Totha, who we'll meet soon, is in the vision, participating.
Oh my God. That's evil genius level manipulation.
Absolutely. It's psychological torture designed to break Blade's will and force him to obey Hancho. Shows how well Hancho reads people, even humans.
So after that nightmare fuel, what happens to Blade?
He gets transported again, this time to the gorge itself. Remember, Zulekia was sentenced to be thrown into it.
Right. What's it like there?
Completely different from Ursit. It's wild, cold, rainy. The book specifically says real weather exists there, unlike the controlled twilight of the city.
Interesting. A place beyond Tharn's control. And who's there?
The Pethcines. Hancho described them earlier as brutes and barbarians, mongoloid in appearance.
And Hancho wants to use them for a revolution, right? Against the women rulers, they.
Exactly. Lure them out of the gorge where Tharn's tech like Simless and Destructors are useless and into Ursit to cause chaos.
Clever. In a ruthless way. Does Blade meet them?
Oh, yeah. And it leads to a pretty major event. There's this brutal arena fight, and Blade has to face the Pethcine champion, Gutar.
How does that go?
Blade somehow manages to lift and wield the Pethcines' sacred sword, which is described as ancient and incredibly heavy, and he decapitates Gutar with it.
Whoa. Super strength or just desperation?
Maybe a bit of both. But the effect is huge. The Pethcine king Org sees it, and so does his daughter, Topha.
Topha, the one from the torture vision.
The very same.
Yeah.
She's described as beautiful but fierce. And seeing Blade do this, wielding their sacred sword, killing their champion, it instantly convinces them he is Mazda, he who comes to they.
So Hancho's plan is working, kind of. Blade is being seen as this god figure.
Yep. And Topha. She's immediately captivated. Wants Blade for herself, demands he kill more people for her. It's intense.
Charming. So Blade's got the Pethcines potentially on side, but he's also dealing with the powers back in Urset, like the high priestess Isma.
Right. And we learn more about Isma from another key figure, Sutha, the king of neuters.
King of the Neuters. Interesting title. What does he say about Isma?
He reveals she's just as ruthless and ambitious as she seems. Yeah. Apparently, Isma herself has committed Carno, had sex with lordsmen, but she has them immediately put to death afterwards to cover it up.
Hypocrisy. Thy name is Isma.
Totally. Sutha warns Blade about her terrible jealousy. Says she wants to rule Tharn alone, and she's willing to kill for it. He reveals she actually drugged and murdered her own sister, Queen Astar, during some ritual called the Ceremony of Ravishment.
Wow. Okay, so Isma is definitely not someone to trust. The whole place is just a web of deceit.
Absolutely. Hancho playing puppet master with his Simlu, Isma murdering her way to the top, Blade's caught right in the middle of these power plays. It makes you wonder how anyone survives there.
Yeah, seriously. Can he trust anyone? What about the Sutha, the king of neuters?
Sutha's a really interesting case. He's revealed to be an abort.
An abort. What does that mean?
Like Hancho, it means he's way more intelligent than his designated level as a neuter is supposed to allow. He slipped through the cracks of their rigid system.
Ah, okay. So he's smart. Is he on Blade's side?
He seems to be. And crucially, Sutha offers this insight into Hancho. He says he understands the torture of Koi when one is not equipped for Koi. He sympathizes with Hancho's state as a neuter, that sexual void.
That's unexpectedly empathetic, coming from another neuter.
Right, it adds this layer of complexity. Sutha sees Blade, maybe, as a way out of the current mess. He actually shares his own counterplan with Blade.
Which is?
To destroy the Pethcines, get rid of them for good. Seems he sees them as a threat, too.
Okay, so Sutha wants the Pethcines gone, but he also reveals something crucial about Hancho's plan, doesn't he? About the power pool.
Yes, exactly. Sutha confirms the existence of the power pool, says it's the ultimate source of all of Tharn's tech, the mag veils shielding the city, the weather control, the surveillance, the light, everything runs on it.
The central battery, basically.
Pretty much. And he confirms Hancho's original plan was for Blade, posing as Mazda, to destroy this power pool.
Why would Hancho want that? Wouldn't that cripple Tharn?
That's Sutha's point. Destroying the power pool would destroy Tharn's defenses, leaving it totally vulnerable for Hancho's own invasion with the Pethcines, presumably led by the real Hancho somewhere.
Ah, the double cross. Okay, so Blade realizes he's being played. What does he do?
This is where Blade really takes control. He flips the script. He decides he's not playing Hancho's game or Sutha's game. He's fighting on his terms now. He makes a huge demand. He tells Sutha to abort the power, turn it all off completely.
Shut down the whole city. No lights, no shields, no weather control.
Everything. Let the Manicrops die. Stop the food processing, the waste disposal, total system shutdown.
Why? That sounds like suicide.
Blade's logic is, if Tharn's advantage is its miracle technology, then taking that away levels the playing field. It forces Hancho, Isma, everyone back to basics. Brute force, strategy, survival. A fight Blade thinks he can win.
Deprive them of their crutch.
Yeah.
Wow, that's bold. Does Sutha do it?
He does. The power goes off. And Blade immediately starts transforming Urset. It's a radical shift. He orders the hovels where the Seaboids live torn down to build barricades. He starts training the women, the bearer maidens, the ruling class to fight. He basically designates the lower-level neuters as expendable troops. Cannon fodder.
Harsh, but maybe necessary.
Seems to be his thinking. He also appoints a young, smart neuter, Xeno 12th level, as his adjutant. Puts him in charge of the Seaboids, food, resources, giving real authority to a neuter.
Shaking up the hierarchy.
Massively.
Yeah.
And here's the most radical part. He proposes fixing Tharn's brighting problem by using captured Pethcine warriors to mate with the Tharnian women.
Whoa, using the barbarians to revitalize their bloodline.
Exactly. Natural childbearing instead of the labs in the cage. It's a complete rejection of Tharn's whole system. A total de-evolution, in a way, back to basics.
What does Isma think of all this, the High Priestess?
Well, without the power pool fueling her mystique and maybe some hidden tech, she loses all her clout. The book says she becomes nothing but a beautiful, pouting woman.
Huh? Power cut literally cuts her power.
Yep. Blade confronts her, lays out his vision for this new, changed Tharn, and basically forces her reluctant obedience. He's the undisputed leader now.
It's amazing. He's forcing them back to a more primal state to survive. Makes you think about our own reliance on tech, doesn't it? What happens when the power goes out, literally or figuratively?
A very relevant question.
Yeah.
Are we adaptable or just dependent? Tharn is facing that question head-on, thanks to Blade.
So the power's off, Blade's in charge, the Pethcines are coming, the final battle begins.
For 4 brutal days, yeah.
Yeah.
Blade turns Ursit from this pristine, controlled city into a war zone, a fortified stronghold.
And the sky clears?
Yeah, with the weather control off, the eternal twilight is gone. Moon and stars reappear. A symbolic change. Blade's got catapults built, manned by the Bear Maidens. He's using the Seaboids on the flanks. It's total war.
How does Blade himself fight? Is he still the mighty warrior?
Oh, absolutely. He's shown to be incredibly skilled, ruthless. There's this really savage moment where he kills King Org, the Pethcine leader.
Okay.
And then impales Org's severed head on the sacred sword and displays it to the Pethcine army.
That's dark. Effective, I guess, but dark.
Totally demoralizing for the Pethcines. It shows how far Blade has adapted, or maybe descended, into the brutality of this world to win.
What about Totha, Org's daughter, the one who wanted Blade?
She sees her father's head on the sword, loses it completely. She impulsively leads this chariot charge right into a trap Blade set.
What fatal mistake.
Looks that way. But just as the battle is turning decisively in Blade's favor, Honcho the puppet master makes one last move.
The Simlu again?
No, maybe the real Honcho is closer now. Or he has darts. He fatally strikes Totha with a poison dart. Just takes her off the board.
Why? To ensure she doesn't complicate things later.
Seems likely. Honcho playing the long game, even in defeat.
So Blade wins the battle. Is it over?
Not quite. The internal treachery isn't done. In the aftermath, Isma approaches Blade, offers him a victory cup.
Uh-oh. I have a bad feeling about this. Poison.
Yep. Laced with Soka, they're poison. But just as Blade is about to drink, Zeno, his loyal neuter adjutant, shouts a warning. Good old Zeno. But Isma reacts instantly. She kills Zeno with the sword, stabs him right there.
No. Ah, poor Zeno.
It's heartbreaking. Blade sees this sacrifice, looks at the cup, looks at Isma, and deliberately pours the poisoned drink onto the ground. A silent refusal, a challenge.
Wow. He knows. Isma's exposed. What happens to her?
The book doesn't immediately say. Blade's focus shifts. He jumps in a chariot to hunt down Honcho, the real Honcho.
Final showdown.
Except when he finds Honcho's chariot, Honcho's already dead, slumped over.
Dead? How? Who killed him?
It's ambiguous. Left unsaid. But the implication. Maybe Sutha, the king of neuters, tied up that loose end quietly. The ultimate manipulator removed from the board by another manipulator.
Huh. Interesting. So Honcho's gone, Isma's sidelined. What about Zulekia, the woman Blade wanted to save?
He finds her. And she's alive.
Oh, thank goodness. A bit of light in all this darkness.
And she has news. Huge news. She's pregnant.
Pregnant. With Blade's child.
His child. A potential heir for Tharn, conceived naturally. Blade immediately declares their union legal, asserts his authority, and demands the child will be his.
A new beginning for Tharn, maybe. Led by Blade's kid.
It seems possible. But then, poof, he's pulled back, ripped out of Tharn and dropped back in London.
Just like that. Mid-sentence. Almost.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
He arrives back, completely disoriented, but he's still clutching that massive sacred sword.
He brought back a souvenir. What did Jay and Leighton make of it?
Leighton, the scientist, is immediately fascinated. Not by the sword itself, but by a tiny sliver of something that looked like plastic, embedded in the hilt. He thinks it could be huge for England's economy. Always the pragmatist.
And Jay, his friend.
Jay is more concerned about Blade himself. He notes that Blade seems to be taking longer to readjust, to snap back to his London self after each trip. He's worried about the mental toll.
Yeah, that makes sense. Jumping between realities, becoming a god king. It's bound to mess with your head.
And here's the final twist, the ultimate lingering question. Blade does his debriefing, records everything onto tapes, except one thing.
What does he leave out?
The child. His child. Back in London, he has no conscious memory of Zulekia's pregnancy. He can't explain why he withheld that single crucial piece of information, the existence of a child that might one day grow up to be a king or a queen of a land called Tharn.
He forgot or repressed it. Wow.
Yeah. What a ride, huh? From those hushed secrets in Downing Street to this raw, bloody fight for survival on a totally alien world.
It's way more than just an adventure story. Jewel of Tharn really digs into some heavy themes.
It really forces you to ask, like, what happens when a society gets so advanced, relies so much on its tech that it just loses touch with basic humanity, even forgets how to make babies the old-fashioned way.
And what does it even mean to be a man or a god when those lines get so blurry? Blade starts as an everyman agent, gets thrown into this insane situation.
And it has to navigate this world where sex is a weapon, loyalty is totally conditional, and just surviving means making brutal choices.
So what's the takeaway for us listening to this?
Well, maybe it's a reminder that understanding often means looking past the surface, finding the hidden motives, the deeper patterns, especially when we're overloaded with information.
Yeah, Blade had to figure out who was really pulling the strings.
And his story isn't just about being a hero. It's about power, the consequences of it, the crazy complexity of human and unhuman nature, and the legacy we leave, even if we don't remember leaving it.
That really brings up the question of Blade's own humanity, doesn't it? He adapted, he became ruthless, essentially a god king. How much of the original Richard Blade, the MI6A guy, was left by the end?
That's a great point. It's an extreme look at adaptation. What's the cost of gaining that kind of power, of surviving that kind of world? Did he lose himself?
And think about this. Blade ends up back in London, sleeping, seemingly normal, but across that dimensional rift.
A child is growing. His child, carrying the blood of two worlds, destined to rule a Tharn that now, maybe, has real stars in its sky.
What kind of future is waiting for that child? Born from a god king father who vanished and doesn't even remember him or her, what kind of world will they build?
And what does that say about the ripple effect one person can have? Even a reluctant pawn, like Blade started out as. His actions completely reshaped the fate of an entire world, maybe multiple worlds. It really makes you think about those unseen impacts, the echoes across time and dimensions.